Do we finally find out who Rey's parents are? No, I'm not going to tell you. Hey, I'm Amy and welcome back. Today we're talking The Last Jedi. I am so excited that this movie is finally out. I have been waiting for it forever. And 2 years ago, yesterday, when I went to see this movie, was the premiere of The Force Awakens. So it's all come full circle, I would like to say. But I just want to do a very quick spoiler-free review of Star Wars The Last Jedi. It is directed by Rian Johnson, written by Rian Johnson too, I believe. It is a very big departure from the J.J. Abrams Force Awakens. In some points, it's really great, and in other points, I'm not super fond of it. And I will get into why I think this way. It is very funny, which I really appreciate. There are some really great action scenes, which I love, and they're probably the highlight of the entire movie for me. There is some great acting, and of course, we get Leia and Luke back together again. Well, I guess it is kind of spoilers saying that they're back together again, but it's spoilers to say that they're not as well. I don't know. Luke and Leia are back on screen. First up, the humor. I liked it at first, but then after a while, it got to be a little bit too much. I was just like, why is there so much humor? It was fun at first, but then it was just humor and jokes on jokes on jokes, and it kind of just got to be a little bit too much. It was like they listened to the fact that we didn't like how much The Force Awakens was like the original Star Wars, and they changed it up a little bit because this wasn't really like most, I mean, it didn't have the same, well, it did have kind of the same formula as a normal Star Wars movie, but it just kind of wasn't the same storyline like the other ones, I guess. They also added in like all the humor that Rogue One had in parts, mostly from Alan Tudyk's character. I think they threw in so much humor and so much cuteness with the porgs. It just got to be a little bit overwhelming for me and kind of bumped my score down a little bit. But overall, humor, great. Now, the action scenes bumped my score back up, actually, because there are some amazing lightsaber fights that rival the Darth Vader Obi-Wan Kenobi fight scene in A New Hope. It's just so much fun, so well choreographed. There's just this one lightsaber fight scene that just blew my mind. I just had so much fun watching it. I was in awe the entire time. There was also a couple really fun space battle sequences. One that stands out probably a little bit more than the rest of them, and you will know why when you see it, and it's probably my favorite scene in any Star Wars movie ever, even more so than when you first see the Death Star or like the opening crawl for A New Hope. It blew my mind, and it's so iconic and so different for a Star Wars movie because it's not something that you would normally see in a Star Wars movie, but maybe in another space. Actually, no, you wouldn't see it in another space movie either. You wouldn't see this anywhere else but a Star Wars movie, but it's the first time that they've shown it in a Star Wars movie, and it just kind of blew my mind. It was so much fun and exciting. And yeah, this movie was such a fun ride. And the acting is superb. I mean, of course, Carrie Fisher, rest in peace, that beautiful, beautiful star. She was amazing and brilliant. And I miss her so much. Even though I never knew her, I miss her. And of course, I mean, Mark Hamill as Luke, he's brilliant as always. Like, I feel like Mark Hamill is just the epitome of Star Wars. I mean, look at that. Look at his face. He is so cool looking. I mean, Rey is amazing, and Finn and Poe, they're just amazing as well. It's just, everyone is so great. And then Domhnall Gleeson is really cool in this too. He looks a lot different than normal in this, or he looks different than his character originally did in The Force Awakens. he looks a little bit more gaunt, but I think that's kind of, you can tell a little bit of the passage of time, and he spent a lot of time with Snoke, so he's kind of been drained of his life force. I feel like Snoke has kind of taken over him. And Andy Serkis, as always, does a fabulous job as Snoke. He is so creepy and sinister, and that was really fun. And Laura Dern's hair is so good. She has such an interesting role, and I don't want to go in depth into her character and her role in this movie because it's a little bit spoilery. She's great because Laura Dern is perfect. She is such a great actress. I just want her hair. The wig that she wears in this is amazing. It's my favorite color of purple, which purple is my favorite color, but the color of purple of her hair is one of my favorite colors of purple, and I just want to have that hair. It's so pretty. And I honestly forgot that Benicio del Toro was in this movie, and he was bomb. I mean, he only had a very small part, spoiler warning, but he was so good in that role. This guy is a chameleon. He can play anything, and it's amazing. It's insane how well he played this character. But the strongest performance in this for me is a tie between Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver. Them clashing together is amazing, but I think Adam Driver kind of wins it out for me because he just has such a strong performance. Like, you can feel the battle inside of him between the light and the dark. You can see it in his eyes, you can just see it in his expression and the slight body movements and facial expressions he does. It's just so intense and so great, and I can't wait to see what he does with it in the last movie. And finally, the creatures. There are a ton of new creatures in this, including the porgs and the ice/crystal wolf dog things. The porgs are basically just like penguins with a little bit of orange in them. They're adorable, and the source of a lot of the comedy points in this. Their cuteness and the comment that they use with them got a little bit annoying to me. That's kind of where the annoyance with me and the comedy kind of started to go down. It's just they went a little too hard on the cuteness, comedy, porginess, and I can see where the cast got really annoyed with porgs on set. I think that's just about all of my thoughts on this. So now my score. I was going to give this a collection because, of course, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I will put this in my collection no matter what. I'd like the day it comes out, buying it, because I have every other Star Wars movie. But if I'm going to look at this objectively as a movie reviewer and not as a fan, lover, whatever of Star Wars, I am definitely going to have to give this a Redbox. I will rent this. I will probably watch this with friends. If I was looking at this objectively and I wasn't a huge fan of Star Wars, I was just going to see this movie, I probably wouldn't buy it. It's not my favorite, but it's not the worst. It's fun and it's enjoyable and it's beautiful, but this one just, I think there's a little too much of certain things and not enough of other things. I don't know what there wasn't enough of. I just feel like there was way too much comedy in this. Like, I appreciate that and I love having comedy in a Star Wars movie, but this was just a little too much. I think that's my only complaint. It's just too much comedy. How can you have too much comedy? But for a Star Wars movie, there is a such thing as too much comedy. So that's probably an unpopular opinion, but these are just my opinions, and I would love to know yours, so let me know what you thought in the comments down below. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you, whoever you are. Let me know who you are in the comments down below, and let's be friends. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe if you're new, because I love talking movies, TV shows, nerdy fun stuff like Star Wars with you guys, having a conversation, and I hope you stick around for some more fun conversations in the future, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!